When was the last time you had a 2 hour conversation with a friend about anything other than motherhood? It took me a while to realize after Camille was born that it wasn't just my routines that changed. My friendships also transformed completely. Some became stronger in ways I never imagined. Others simply disappeared. Today, I want to share what I learned about rebuilding friendships after motherhood. Welcome to Mothers in Journey. I am Juliana Mazzi, and today's episode is how to rebuild friendships after motherhood. If you feel like you've lost important friends, or if the friendships you have now seem empty, or if you simply don't know how to connect anymore, this episode has strategies that really work. In the first months after Camille was born, I thought the problem with my friendships was just a matter of time. Oh, when I adapt better to the routine, when she sleeps better, then I'll be able to maintain my friendships as before. But time passed. And I realized it wasn't just about having more time, it was about having become a completely different person with different needs, with different interests. And some friendships only worked when I was Juliana, but when I became Juliana Camel's mother, some people simply didn't know how to relate to me anymore, and often neither did I with them. Some friends stopped inviting me. Oh, she must be busy with the baby. There were others who only reached out to see photos of Camille but never asked how I was doing. The conversation didn't flow. And there were even others who, when I tried to share a bit about my struggles, would end up changing the subject or giving empty advice. The worst, I think, is when I talked about this transformation I was going through, the journey, and I would hear, oh, you have a husband and daughter, you should be grateful. Or, look, enjoy it because this phase passes quickly, as if my feelings weren't valid. That's when I understood something liberating. Some friendships really change, and not just because of them, but also because of me. And look, it's all right. I needed to stop fighting against it and started working with the new reality. And it was here in Italy that I learned a precious lesson. I remember a coffee, my first coffee with an Italian friend. We were getting to know each other, and she asked me directly, Di cosa hai bisogno? Logically, which means, what do you need? And this frankness shocked and liberated me at the same time. I realized that I was trying to maintain friendships, pretending that nothing had changed, when in fact everything had changed. That wasn't fair to me or to my friends. Over time, I realized that in motherhood, friendships are organized into three very clear groups. The first group includes friends who evolved with me in the process. They are the ones who ask how you really are, who can talk about motherhood but also about other topics. They respect your boundaries but do not treat you as if you were divided. For many of them, I even need to apologize because when they were going through this transition, I myself did not have the empathy I should have had at the time. Second, the friends who remained stuck in a previous version of you. And look, this doesn't mean they are bad or that I am bad. It just means we are at different stages in life. And it's okay to acknowledge that. We don't need to sit here pointing fingers. And third, the new connections you make after motherhood. They can be other mothers who understand exactly what you are going through, or people who know the mother version of you and accept you completely as you are. But I discovered that before working on any of these categories, I needed to rebuild the most important friendship of all, the one I had with myself. Because if you don't connect with who you are now, it becomes very difficult to connect genuinely with others. Now, I want to share three changes that made all the difference in how I connect with people, especially living in another country. First, learn to communicate directly what you need. Instead of waiting for people to guess, I started to see that I needed to speak more clearly. For example, instead of canceling an appointment because I might be busy, I started to say, Look, I really want to see you, but I need shorter meetings now, like 1 hour at a cafe near home. How about Saturday morning? Specifying time, place, and duration completely changed things. Second, what I call a balanced conversation. 70% of the conversation is about other topics and 30% about motherhood. This helps me remember that I am an interesting person beyond being a mother, and people also connect better with me because we have other topics to discuss. Third, and perhaps most importantly, accept that some friendships will change or will end, and that this is not a failure of mine or the other person's. Personal growth sometimes means you no longer connect in the same way as before. And look, that's okay. Here in Italy, this acceptance became even clearer because when you are building a new life from scratch, you quickly learn that quality matters much more than quantity. Today, I prefer to have two friends who see me as a whole person rather than 10 who only see me as a mother. Making new friendships in motherhood doesn't have to be complicated, but it needs to be intentional. The first place where I found genuine friendships here in this move to another country, in fact, was in regular activities. Here in Italy, for example, it's having breakfast always at the same place, at the pastry shop on the corner, going to the park with the family every day, at the supermarket, always at the same time. This regularity creates familiarity. Then I realized that mom groups work better when they have a focus beyond motherhood. Walking groups, cooking, even neighborhood WhatsApp groups. When you connect through other interests, the friendship becomes richer. But I think the most important discovery was this, that making friends as a mother is completely different. Now, you need people who understand your limits, who won't be offended if you cancel at the last minute, who accept shorter, more frequent meetings, sometimes an earlier dinner than usual. And all these strategies clear communication, intentional connections, maintaining relationships, even with limitations they have become part of how I approach all relationships. Not just friendship, but also family, work, community. If you are watching here and thinking, I need to rebuild my friendships, I want you to start small, very small. Choose one person, it can be an old or new friend, and send a specific message, not something like, how are you? But something like, I was thinking about you, want to grab a quick coffee with me on Saturday morning? Concrete invitation, set deadline, set location. Next week, I will share something even more practical. Quick strategies of a few minutes that I use daily to stay connected with myself. Because, as I said, right, the most important friendship is the one we have with ourselves. But today, tell me, what is your biggest difficulty in maintaining friendships after motherhood? Is it lack of time, change of interest, or difficulty in opening up? And which of these changes will you try first? And remember, you don't need to become a completely different person to make new friends. You just need to learn to share who you are now in an authentic way. And if you want more practical strategies like these that really work in the life of a busy mom, stay tuned for the next episodes. Until our next conversation.